What's up guys, and welcome back to Madman Music. In today's video, we're talking about another free plugin from ML Sound Lab, and that's going to be the Stevie T Djentgod. Djentgod. So let's stop messing around, let's jump in the computer and check it out. Let's do it. Roll intro! Alright guys, thanks for stopping back by. We're going to go ahead and jump into the computer and check out this plugin. But before we do that, do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. Join this community. We're doing all kinds of cool gear stuff and playthroughs. I try to make these things enjoyable, and the more people hit that like button, the more that this message will get spread to other people. So hit it now. Press like. Alright, cool. Thanks. Let's jump into this thing. The first thing we'll notice is the fact that it looks a little silly, right? Well, we know Stevie T. Stevie T's a silly guy. You know what I mean? He shreds. He's awesome. He's a great musician. He makes a bunch of crazy faces and all that good stuff. But in true Stevie T form, of course, he makes his amp models, his signature amp models, look like a cardboard box, which I think is hilarious, to be honest. So, as you can see right off the bat with this thing is that it is supposed to be, even though it says Djentgod here, it's supposed to be a Friedman model, right? Which is pretty cool. Friedmans, I guess, are sort of like really hot-rodded Marshall amps, right? That's kind of the idea behind Friedmans. I've never actually played one, but if you have, tell me down in the comments, like, what's the closest thing to a mainstream regular amp that you would compare this thing to? I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it's some kind of a hot-rodded Marshall sort of sound, and you kind of get that with this plugin, which is pretty cool. Not bad to get a free Friedman amp sim. I'll take it. I will take it, and you should too. You know? So again, right off the bat, we're looking at it. It's got all your regular sort of tonal control sorts of things. Input, effects on and off. We'll get back to that in a minute. Gain, bass, middle, treble, presence, master, cab, off, and the output. A lot of really cool little things going on here. Even for a free plugin, there's a lot of really great features that are built in that, again, make this thing like, it would be silly for you not to download this and use this somewhere. When I did the video on the Fluff 5150 amp sim, which you can check out in that link that's gonna pop up right there, when I did that video, a lot of people were introduced to the ML Sound Lab stuff through that plugin and found that plugin really useful, really helpful, and they found that the thing sounded great. I also think it sounds great. All the music that you generally hear that I include in my videos is music that I wrote for the videos, and I 98% of the time use the Fluff 5034 amp sim as all of my guitar tones because it just sounds awesome. I mean, I use 5150s as it is. It just sort of went hand in hand. The Djentgod, however, has a slightly different type of sound to it. I've compared the two amp sims before, and what I've found is that the Djentgod tends to be a bit darker sounding in comparison to the Fluff 5150 34, whatever. I'm losing track of the numbers. But this thing, again, has a slightly different tonality to it. And that's not to say that that's bad by any means. It just fits into a different characteristic when you're trying to choose voicings for your recordings. Nothing wrong with it. Just something different. So let's go through some of this stuff and check out what it sounds like and how the controls kind of work here. The first thing that we're going to look at here is the gain. We're actually going to skip the effects for just a minute. We'll check out the gain. Let's listen to what everything sounds like here just at noon, including the master. This is the thing here. So just everything straight up, noon. This is how you should try amps generally, but not the master at noon, because sometimes that's incredibly loud. But in this case, it's going to be okay because it's all in the box. So let's check it out. So you can hear it's got like a lot of mid-range to it, but not really a lot of high end. It's not very present in my opinion. So let's go ahead and try to tweak some of the knobs a little bit and see if we can't make it sound like something that we would want to use in a recording of our own. Awesome. I think that sounds pretty good. Now, there's a few things going on in the background. We haven't quite got to it, but there is this effects on-off switch here, which basically pulls up this cool little pedal board feature that includes a noise gate, an overdrive, a delay, and a reverb, which I think is really cool. When you're recording in the box, you don't necessarily need the delay or the reverb, but the noise suppressor and the overdrive is always going to be useful. I mean, that's awesome. The fact that they add these things and include that stuff is pretty great because it makes this thing like a all-in-one in-the-box thing. So if you're using, say, some of the free software like Reaper that doesn't have amp models or whatever, a lot of DAWs don't really have amp models. I use Logic. It does have amp models included in them. They're okay. They're not the greatest. This blows that stuff away big time. So I love using the ML SoundLab stuff. I have since replaced every other amp model, amp sim thing that I use for this. If I'm not recording my actual amp, I'm using one of these plugins because they're great. And again, the price was right. Free is a price you just can't beat, especially for the feature-packed stuff that you get from that. So awesome. So let's go ahead and turn off the noise gate and hear what that sounds like. Right? So that thing cuts a lot of noise. But it's also cutting noise coming from the overdrive, which is a little strange in the signal path. You would think maybe it wouldn't be doing that, but it does. Right? And that's okay. All that stuff's perfectly normal. This is why you have noise suppressors and noise gates. You have that to kill this sort of noise and make things as tight as possible. So let's kick on this delay a little bit here and check out what that sounds like. One thing I have noticed about this amp is that it is relatively, I want to say low gain. It is high gain. It's super high gain, but in comparison to like say the Fluff 5150 amp sim, this one seems to have a little less to it. We can add that. Luckily there's features to be added to this at this point. We could up the gain a little bit. We could also add a little bit of overdrive to do these things. In my opinion, I think I would prefer to go with the overdrive instead of adding more gain to the amp. Because again, I still use this amp sim as though it was a real amp. So I'm playing by all the same real amp rules. I don't really want to add too much extra gain to my signal because it is going to add a lot of obvious noise. Adding extra drive to the overdrive pedal will also add noise, but in my opinion, it's not as much, usually, I guess. Let's try it out. drive at about noon. And it's starting to get there. Again, this amp is really punchy in the mid-range. In my opinion, this probably isn't the greatest amp for rhythm tone. I guess if you're going for djent, considering the djent style kind of uses a lot of heavy mid-range and coil tapping. I don't play djent, but there's a lot of that sort of tonality there, which is great, and it sounds awesome. Where you would normally find this in a regular metal setting is not necessarily in the rhythm section, probably in the lead section. So let's kick on this this delay and this reverb. I'm by no means a lead player, but let's just hear what's happening here. So you add those things to it, it totally makes it nice and wet, which is cool. I do hear quite a lot of like volume suck, and I think that this is just from the reverb. So we'll need to turn the mix down on that quite a bit, and let's see what it sounds like here. Turn off that delay. Add a little time to it. So it's kind of like it's a little springy in my opinion. It's got some spring verb type things going on from what I can hear. Another really awesome feature that ML SoundLab threw into this plugin, which you're not gonna find on the Fluff amp sim, is the fact that you have this little button here that says cab off, basically so you can turn off the cabinet IR that's built in. Now on the Fluff, it just turns on the one built-in cabinet IR, which I think that cabinet IR sounds great. I use it. It's awesome. I don't turn it off and replace it with something else. I just use this. But one thing that's really, really, really cool about the Fluff is not only are you getting all this other really good free stuff, but if you just click on the cab here, we can choose from 4 built-in cab IRs, which is like a Bogner Ubershaw cabinet, a Marshall cabinet, your typical 1960A probably, a Mega Djent, right? Which I assume is just a standard Mesa cabinet. And then, of course, the Mega OS, which is going to be the oversized Mesa cabinet. These are all cool. Let's have a listen to some of them here. Let's check out it. By default, it falls onto the Mega Djent, right? So let's go ahead and have a listen to the Bogner, see what that sounds like. Let's start with the Djent. So that gives it a little bit more top end, but also kind of scoops out some of the mids. And then let's check out that Marshall. Right? So the Marshall definitely adds a lot of that top end. This is very typical of the GT12s that are in Marshall cabinets. I have a Marshall cabinet sitting right over there. So yeah, it has a lot of those characteristics. This is pretty true to that thing. Of course, we've heard the Mega Djent. Let's check out the oversized Mesa cabinet. Real quick with no effects or delay on. It's definitely got a lot of mid-range bite. Let's check out that Marshall cab one more time. The last thing that I'd like to show you about the cab model stuff is the fact that these plugins have a built-in custom IR loader. If you're already using cabinet IRs, impulse responses from somewhere else, you can upload them directly into this plugin and rack them. How sick is that? So let's check it out. My buddy James from Gelbertone totally sent me a couple of IR packs, and I just want to show you something real quick to see how it sounds. One of my favorite sounding cabs from the Gelbertone gnarly pack is this gnarly cab number 2. Now, this cab sound, I don't even know what it is. I have to actually ask him what these cabs are based on, but this number 2 cab just screams like deathcore to me. Let's check this thing out. So when we load this up, that's pretty heavy sounding stuff there. So it's pretty awesome that you're able to load up your own cab IRs. I mean, how can you beat that? That's pretty sick. So if there's any aspect of this amp that you're already not really that interested in, or like anything that's built in that's not really doing it for you, you can use anything that you want. Get it. I mean, Jesus. If you haven't downloaded this thing already, you're an idiot. Sorry, you're not an idiot. Let's check out what this amp sounds like in a mix on a little tune that I arranged for this here video, and let's see what you think about it. Alright, so that's the Stevie T Djentgod from ML Sound Labs. I think this thing is a really cool plugin that, I mean, the price is pretty much perfect considering it's free. So there's really kind of no excuse for you to at least download it and try it out, because it's already got all kinds of great features in it right in the box. So even if it was the only little plugin that you were using in your DAW to record music, I mean, you can't go wrong with having it. It's free. Go get it. But also, ML Sound Lab does a lot of really cool stuff. Not only do they have cool amp sims, but they also do IR packs and all kinds of good stuff. So definitely head down to the description, check out their website, and see what they have to offer. There's a lot of really great amp sims that are less than $100. Again, no excuse, check it out, description, go. While you're down there, do me a favor, there's a bunch of links and different ways that you can help support Madman Music. Teespring.com, Patreon.com, blocka blocka blocka, all this good stuff. Snag yourself some swag, hook yourself up, because that also helps me out greatly and keeps this channel going. And of course, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe and join this community. We're pumping out content all the time, so don't miss it. Make sure to hit the bell icon and then all the notifications. You know the whole jibber jabber dilly dally bullshit. Do all that stuff, come hang out with me, let's talk gear, let's talk stuff, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace!